Hey folks, welcome back to Retirement Roadmap with Master Plan Retirement Consultants. My name is Evan. With me as always, retirement planner Mark Fricks. There's so much emphasis on pursuing your bucket list in retirement. Bucket lists are easy to determine. Some of us hold on to these dreams for years in hopes to eventually achieve. We know what we want to accomplish, but what are the retirement pitfalls we want to avoid? Like a reminder on our bathroom mirror, what are the sticky note items we need to avoid in order to support a successful retirement?
Is it kind of like an anti-bucket list?
An anti-bucket list. In fact, this concept was pulled from an article on Kiplinger's called Retiree's Anti-Bucket List. So if you want further reading, I recommend checking out their website. They've got a ton of articles, really great, financially themed, a lot of retirement-specific articles. Check out Kiplinger's. But yeah, what should be involved in a retiree's anti-bucket list? What is an anti-bucket list?
Things you should avoid, things you shouldn't do, things you should maybe have a plan for, things that you need a great retirement consultant to take a look at.
Well, that's a great point. Well, let's go to number one. So first of all, working longer than necessary. Now that might sound odd because people assume I work longer, I have more money, a safer, more reliable retirement. But one of the most common retirement misconceptions is the belief that one must work until a specific age or accumulate a certain amount of savings, say 1 million to retire. There are countless articles that you can Google.
That
this
1
is the
million
amount you need.
is so magical. It really
right.
is. So, and also, you know, and you may get into this a little bit here in just a minute, but so many times I'll have folks come up to me and say, I'll say, well, when do you retire? We'll talk a little bit about retirement, things like that. And they'll say 66 and 8 months or something like that,
Yep.
which is, of course, tied to Social Security, which really has no bearing on when you should or might want to retire. So don't let Social Security determine your retirement age, I guess is what I'm saying. That's a totally different number from when you should or should not retire.
Right. It just basically comes down to creating a comprehensive financial plan that considers your individual financial situation and your personal lifestyle preferences that you may discover you can retire sooner than anticipated.
Well, and I tell folks, I mean, I've got 3 or 4 sets of clients where the wife is like begging the husband to retire, and every time they come in, the date gets pushed further down. Now, that could be fear. It could be lack of confidence. It could be that great change of life when you do retire. But you can also transition into retirement. You don't have to leap off the cliff. You can climb down the rocks.
Exactly.
I kind of like that. I just came up with that. So
Write that down.
You can work your way into retirement and not just do it all at once. And again, having a plan that really the numbers really reveal, can give you confidence that, hey, I can retire. And then the thing I tell a lot of clients is every day you work is one less day in retirement, because we do have an end date. I don't know what it is. God knows what it is, right? But every day I work is one less day in retirement that I get to spend with family, my spouse, doing the things I want to do, whatever it may be. So again, having that plan really gives you that confidence that I know I can retire then.
Yeah, and I like how you put, not jumping off the cliff, but walking down the mountain in a sense. You don't have to transition fully. In fact, there are a lot of beneficial reasons that maybe you want to work a part-time gig, maybe find some fulfillment there, not only maintaining some financial health there, but give yourself a desired lifestyle, getting out of the house.
Or doing something you've always wanted to do that's not dependent upon money, but maybe you can make maybe you take a hobby and turn it into a little money-making business, get some tax advantages there as well, do something you really love doing. I could tell story after story. We could do 6 shows about what clients have done and turned their retirement into. That was a hobby. Now they're going around to craft festivals, or they're going getting online and selling things or whatever. And it's just woodworking. It could be anything that you just, again, because we keep using this word retirement. If you look up the word retirement, it means to fade away, die away. Hang
up the jersey.
Yeah, so to speak. But that's not really today's retirement.
Right.
That was my granddaddy's retirement, but not today. We got 10, 20, 30, 40 years left of our life to do what we want to do. Yeah. So that's, for number one, that's why we didn't have a plan. But number 2, again, having that mentality of, I want to take advantage of this portion of my life. And so I know we're going to get more into that as well. So.
Well, I also love how you alluded to the fact that time is such a precious resource. And I can relate from my life when my wife and I were trying to decide if we were ready to have children. And there's plenty of fear that you could find some comparisons between those new shifts in lifestyle between having kids and retirement, these huge phases. And in the end, it came down to me thinking, okay, 20 years down the road, 30, 40, am I going to look back and say, I wish I had less time with my kids or more time? And that really helped me to say, no, I think it's time. You know, we need to get all of our family here.
That's a good perspective. I like that. Yep.
So, 55 and older, seek some retirement, a retirement professional, and discuss. Can you retire? What is how much do you need? Is it how much you need or how much is coming in? Seek financial help. Yep. Number 2, retirement anti-bucket list, coping with loneliness.
Yeah, one client comes to mind, and he and his wife both had retired, but she passed away kind of suddenly. Now he's by himself in retirement, and he's been working with us over a year now, and he still is every time I meet with him, it's very sad. He's like, I just don't know how to fill my days. I mean, and he's doing stuff. He's playing pickleball at night and cornhole and all these different things. But there's still something, especially during the day, it's just lonely for him. And so I continually try to counsel him as to what, could be out there. Go and volunteer, give some of yourself back. I think that helps a lot when you look at other people's issues and try to fill some of the voids in their life. I think volunteering is a great thing to do. But absolutely, loneliness can certainly be something that comes along with retirement.
Yeah, and other than the fact that you're just your days are sad, and you're having a rough go, it actually loneliness can accelerate mental and physical decline as well.
Mm-hmm. And you can even be lonely as a couple. I mean, this is not just a single person that's retired, but even as a couple, we've had several instances where folks retire and suddenly their marriage takes a turn for the worst because they spent all these years, he's out having his goals at work, she's out having her goals at work or at home, and suddenly they come together and he's intruding in her space that she's had all these years because it's her nest typically, and he's like, used to being in charge at work, and so now they're lonely. And now he's in the basement. Now, this is a true story. He's in the basement doing whatever he does, whether it's watching TV or playing on the computer or whatever, and she's upstairs doing what she does. And their marriage actually crumbled, and they divorced because of that. We've joked around saying we should open a counseling office in here as well. We kind of already have one.
There is something to be said for that. The emotional and spiritual and physical well-being in retirement, intellectual well-being, it all comes together. And like you said, 2 spouses, they're a team, but they're also 2 individuals with different needs, and you can't always rely on your spouse. You can't, period, rely on your spouse to fulfill all of your personal needs. You have to find fulfillment in those. And
that's part of that whole getting used to stepping into retirement. Why I think, again, going back to the analogy we used earlier about stepping step by step into retirement as opposed to just jumping out of the airplane and pulling the chute type of thing is easing into it. And a lot of our couples that we work with, one will actually retire and then the other one works 2 or 3 more years. And sometimes that can be beneficial. The one at home is kind of getting used to, what's going on. And although it's fun to retire at the same time because you can do stuff at the same time, but also maybe an age difference. You've got one retiring earlier than the other one.
That's a good point.
So I know a couple of guys that retired first and they learned to cook. So then when their wife came home, dinner was on the table. So that was a nice thing to do.
Number 3 actually does relate to coping with loneliness. It's battling depression due to a lack of purpose. And I think that's huge, having a lack of purpose in retirement.
That is near number 1. It really is. And we have that discussion with virtually every client. In fact, at the very first meeting, we will ask someone that comes into our office what their goals are. And when we start getting into the goals, it's not just, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house. It's also, what are you going to do with your time? You've been working 40, 50 hours a week or whatever it may be, and now, how do you fill that time? It can't be sitting on the sofa for 12 hours a day. Not only is that not good for you health-wise, mentally that's not good for you.
Right.
And so you really have to have a plan of purpose. A lot of folks get involved in their churches more, other organizations, charities. Maybe it's, more family time. It's probably a combination of many items that come together.
Yeah, finding a reason to get out of bed in the morning. I mean, research strongly suggests that happiness is tied to finding a sense of purpose.
Absolutely. And, so many, and I can only speak, for myself as a man, but I know that almost every time I meet another guy, one of the first questions I ask is, well, what do you do? So our lives are tied up into what we do so much.
Right.
Women are that way sometimes too. Other times, women, it's more like, I have a family.
We find our identities, for better or for worse, in our career more often than not in our American culture, and that's just how life runs. Like you said, when you meet someone at a party or the first time, the first thing, hey, what do you do for a living? That's basically how you start.
It is because, like you said, it is so much of the core of what we are and who we are. And like me, I can only speak for me when it comes to the true emotions. But if I walked away from this tomorrow, I have no idea what I'd do. I have no idea. And I've thought about it some. I mean, I have no intention of stepping away. I think this is going to be my retirement, is helping people like this, maybe just at a different pace. But if it wasn't for this, I really don't. I mean, I enjoy playing golf, but not 5 days a week. I enjoy other things, but not every day. I need variety, but also, again, a purpose that goes further beyond myself.
Well, purpose also, I don't want to spend too much time on one topic, but like playing golf, that's, even if you love golf, that's amazing, but it's hard to find purpose in entertainment and pastime.
Yep.
You know, that's a different thing. Those are great and necessary, but that's not necessarily purpose-driven.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Number 4, dealing with a just-in-case retirement. So basically, the fear of running out of money often leads to a just-in-case retirement strategy, which can create unnecessary budget constraints and concerns.
Yeah, so I think what you're alluding to here is having a plan. Is it this?
Well, absolutely. And so many people go into retirement and say, well, I'm setting this money aside just in case, or they don't have a plan, they don't know where their paycheck's coming from, so maybe they're just taking withdrawals from IRAs, 401ks, things like that when they need it, and they don't have everything set up. So in the end, they end up being overly conservative one way or the other. Maybe they're way too in the market and heavily in the market. So that volatility up and down, they don't understand the sequence of returns and things like that. So there are multiple things, ways that you can look at this. You know, we've seen plenty of people who don't realize that 98% of their assets are at risk in the market. Oh, well, I've just got retirement assets. Those are good, right? Well, yeah, but you know, they don't realize
subject to the unknown.
Absolutely. Or we see people who come in and they've been in, their accounts have been in cash for a decade.
Or more.
And they don't realize that they've been losing money and they've missed out on so many gains. And so it comes really down to having a plan, which basically, in order to have a plan, first you have to know where you are. In order to know where you're going, you have to analyze where you are and understand, okay, where am I at right now? Where are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses, opportunities to improve? And that's really how our relationship starts with our clients as well. We offer complimentary consultations to anyone who wants to give us a call or reach out online, masterplanretire.com. Call the office, 770-980-9262. Those complimentary consultations, first of all, we say complimentary because it's true. There's no strings attached, but it's an opportunity to discuss your own retirement and essentially get a vantage point, a 10,000-foot view of where you stand and where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, what do you need to look out for in your own retirement.
Yep, there's a neat little green button on the website that says schedule a meeting. You push that, again, you get a complimentary spot on our calendar. It can be a Zoom, it can be a phone chat, it can be face-to-face if we're in your area, whatever works. But it's a 30 to 45-minute chat to begin with, and then based on how that talk goes, we can then take step 2, which is also complimentary, and that's to run, as Evan said, a series of reports to see where you're at and where you want to be and how can you get there. So great opportunity to take advantage of. I hope you will.
And to piggyback off that last point, tightening budgets based on market mayhem. So you don't want to go through retirement living and dying by what the market graphs are doing. You know, checking every day. Well, I guess I need to not make any withdrawals this week, or you know, whatever. Or like I said earlier, just having a way too much in a cash position to where the 30 years down the road you're going to be so far behind that you can't catch up. And are you going to go back to work at that point?
I saw a really neat chart the other day, and it was basically somebody needing $1,000 a month from their account, but it was in the market, and it showed that because of the market movement, 1 month they were able to take in $1,050. The next month, 1,000. The next month, 950. The next month, 9. The next month, 950. How can you live like that?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't budget that. So does that mean 1 month you kind of pay less on your house payment? or your light payment or whatever. You want that consistent flow like a Social Security. So part of a good plan is developing guaranteed streams of income as part of that plan. That's not all your money. Some needs to be in the market, but some needs to be generating a good stream of income that you could count on. And I can't imagine being retired, waking up every morning, having to look at the stock market to see, because my withdrawal is coming out Wednesday. I wonder what the market's going to be. That's no way to live. How can you enjoy retirement that way? I don't know that you can. So, our clients, we get together with them at functions and stuff. It's just great to hear the stories and how at peace they are because they found us. And that's why we get so many referrals, because our clients love what we've done from a standpoint of they have peace of mind. That's the first thing they tell us. And so they want their friends and family to have peace of mind too. And that's what really brings us joy, for sure.
Absolutely. Number 6, handling health-related financial hardships. Now, healthcare costs must be anticipated in retirement. Something that we know is one of the biggest things to try to avoid or to be aware of is a situation if one spouse's health leads to financial difficulties for the other. One spouse is sick for an extended period of time. They weren't prepared for health care needs or long-term care needs, and it really depletes the assets. They pass away, and then the remaining spouse is left with depleted assets and uncertainty for their retirement.
And less income, because if they both had Social Security, then they're down to one Social Security. Maybe the one that passed away had a pension. Maybe that's half gone or maybe all gone. So it's one of the biggest dangers that we look at when we do retirement planning is healthcare planning, long-term care planning. And folks, I am not saying go out and buy a long-term care policy, okay? That I don't believe is the answer for almost anyone. There are other tools. There's one of the tools, we won't get into a bunch of products today. That's not what we're here for. But one tool is basically a guaranteed income stream that can double if you have a long-term care need. And it's like a 1% fee in that account to get that benefit. There's another one where it's a combination of a Roth type investment, but it also has a death benefit that can trigger into a long-term care benefit. And so it's a 3-in-1 tool that can take care of 3 of the most major things that can happen in retirement: higher taxes, long-term sickness, and premature passing. And so there are tools out there, especially if you work with a fiduciary, that can really plug those gaps that could totally ruin your retirement.
Self-insuring is a wonderful option for those who can afford it and have time to plan accordingly for it. But with everything, there's always risk involved. So like you said, using asset-based long-term care insurance can be a good alternative, help lessen the potential blow to the overall estate for those who may have less or not as much time to prepare, really. We see that a lot, people coming in too late to really, not too late.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. That's
But,
I have to back that up a little bit. But it's also never too early.
Right. I think you said earlier, kind of a sweet spot to really look at this is right around your early to mid 50s, because if you've got kids, they're beginning to leave the house, and your focus begins looking more toward your future now. And where do I want to be, which is retirement. And so that's a great time. Still gives you enough time to really have a good plan put together and let it mature. But also, start your 30s if you can, but there's only so many things you can do in your 30s. You start getting in your 50s, you have some assets put away, start properly positioning those for retirement as opposed to just growth.
I think this list is a little back-weighted because the next one's another very large, huge, important topic. That's fumbling relationships and legacies. Inadequate estate planning that can leave a legacy of resentment and ruin relationships, really.
Yeah, so we've seen, again, because we work with people mostly between 55 and beyond, we have people pass away, we have clients that pass away, and we kind of see the dynamics of the process. And so just having not only a really tight-knit estate plan with great documents, keep them updated, keep your beneficiaries updated, things of that nature, but also have conversations with your family, with your kids and executors and trustees and whatever, to make sure, because there's only so much can be put on paper. If they know what your love is, they know what your goals and dreams are as far as your legacy, that's a great, we've even had some clients kind of write a legacy letter and put it with their documents as well. And that's something I might want to start stressing again more. But to really be able to have that conversation, don't be afraid, like Some past generations have been very secretive about not only money, which is okay. You know, you may not want your kids to know everything about your money, but they at least need to know your desires from a standpoint of how you want to bless them or bless others or create something that goes beyond your lifespan, maybe into future generations.
That's huge. Communication with the next generation, especially your wishes and how you want things to transfer, is super important, but you can't do that until you have all of your estate planning documents in order, updated, current. And that is, we've got an episode on it that we've done before, the gift of preparedness is really the true gift of that you're passing on to your kids, the gift of being prepared.
Yep, and laws change. Even laws about powers of attorney and wills and things like that. So make sure, so many people come in here and say, yeah, I have a will. It was written, 35 years ago when the kids were 4 and 6, and so would it work? Maybe. Maybe,
but that's just it.
It's not going to be optimal.
It's open to interpretation of whoever's the probate judge that day.
That's right. That's right. It's all up to the probate judge. It's not up to the executor. It's not up to anybody else. And again, maybe if it's out of date, maybe the state now requires every page to be initialed. Well, this was written 30 years ago when they didn't require that. He may toss it out, or she may toss it out, the judge. So lots of things you need to think about. And it's not just an attorney's job. You need to plan around it. So that's why we do estate planning. Then we bring the attorney in to write those documents.
Number 8, focusing too much on the 0% tax bracket. Now, we love the concept of creating tax-free money. All of our clients have a tax strategy, a lot of them pushing into creating a portion of their money being tax-free. But trying to get completely to a 0% tax bracket we already know it requires sacrifice, but it may be unnecessary for most people.
Yeah, it's possible, but what you have to understand, if you've got 30 years in retirement, right now, as we know, taxes are on sale, and because of the new election, we think they'll continue being on sale for the next 4 years, give or take. Beyond that, they may go up. I think they will because we're so much in debt. 10 years from now, they may come down again, so you can dip into your IRA more and maybe less in your Roth. And so I think a balance is probably more important than being at that zero. Again, I'd love to be at zero, but it's going to cost you some money to get there. Yeah. And so are you willing to sacrifice the taxes now to be absolutely zero later? Now, if you're younger, I can show you how to get to zero starting now, right? But so many of us have saved in pre-tax 401ks and IRAs that we've kind of buried ourselves so deep that to get back up to zero, again, is going to be very difficult. So let's maybe find a balance, might be a better idea.
And not much time left, but I do want to hit these two topics really quick. 9, supporting capable children.
This is an important one. I have so many clients that come in, and believe me, I love my children, my grandchildren. If I had all the money in the world, I'd help them, but maybe I wouldn't, okay? Because number one, it may not be good for them, but number two is you may be sucking money out of your own retirement, and maybe you're going to end up being a burden one day. So it hurts. Some clients come in here and struggle with that, so just be careful.
Yeah. And then finally, managing high interest debt. Retaining low interest debt in retirement is acceptable if it aligns with your overall financial portfolio. Think about mortgages, things like that. But high interest debt, particularly when it exceeds your investment earnings, should be addressed promptly, pre-retirement if possible, to help secure your financial stability.
Yeah, get those credit cards out of the way. Let that be one of your goals. Next comes maybe car loans, student loans. That house loan needs to be the last thing you worry about. Typically, it's going to be between 3 and 6%. Right. We can beat that with the market.
Absolutely. Well, folks, thank you so much for your time today. That is it for us, Mark.
As always, we've enjoyed it, and until we see each other again, hopefully we will. Plan well and prosper. Take care, everybody. This was Retirement Roadmap Radio with Mark Fricks of Master Plan Retirement Consultants. To schedule a complimentary consultation, go to masterplanretire.com or call 770-980-9262. Thanks for listening, and remember, plan well and prosper.
All matters discussed during this show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, a registered investment advisor in the state of Georgia. Mark Fricks and Master Plan Retirement Consultants are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.